Listen, it's an autumn low, sluts and trap. So many kids, they got a whole nother cat. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going.
Damn, son, where you find that shit? I just had to make sure everything was okay. I had to make sure everything was okay with the audio.
Everything you thinking of is make believe. Would you like for me to come and take the lead? Yeah. Would you like to tell me, girl, that you're in love? Would you like for me to come and use my tongue? Listen, it's an autumn low, sluts and traps. So many kids, they got a whole nother cat. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. Yeah, I'm just around the way. Had to call you up and tell you, girl, you know I found the place. You could pack a couple outfits and get off the couch today. Only for a weekend, I ain't coming to your town to stay. Find me by the lake, these emotions gotta dry them out. Talking about the stars aligning, you know your alignment off. I don't even think the snow is real, but the climate's off. Bitch, I'm on the top, that should tell you, don't try to climb that high. The way for the time I bought, no, I ain't talking about going and eating on PM. And sometimes I don't like to call, saw my thoughts, just might go be in your DM. Because I feel what you're being, that don't mean when I look at her, I ain't seeing a demon. Thinking you gon' get different results, but the same thing you keep on repeating. Yeah, that's insanity. I can tell that you lost, cause you ain't got you a culture or family. Lost in a fairy tale or a damn fantasy. Heart beating like a tambourine and a motherland making more of you. Yeah, you might be lost to Walt Disney or Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. Everything you thinking of is make believe. Would you like for me to come and take the lead? Yeah. Would you like to tell me, girl, that you're in love? Would you like for me to come and use my tongue? Listen, it's an autumn low, sluts and traps. So many kids, they got a whole nother cat. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. I don't got no Hulu, I ain't getting to you. In the crib all day, just wanna get the movies. We could put on Netflix when we fucking. Why your man is texting you for nothing? That cause he keeps stressing you about something. Why you in the middle of trying to get your groove back? Left your city for a while, you hoping that you move back. Like the stars of mine, I just hope that you don't lose that. Can't see every face just from a distance, they like, who's that? Yellow with the color, man, they hoping that I move back. New Jack City in this motherfucking bitch. Like it's like a fine baby, every motherfucking snitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch, you know flights never land. You just lost to hypnotize, bitch, your whole life in a trance. Just a fraud and colonized, you got no rights in demand. Your whole cause is mesmerized, taking your wife in a van. Everything you thinking of is make believe. Would you like for me to come and take the lead? Yeah. Would you like to tell me, girl, that you're in love? Would you like for me to come and use my tongue? Listen, it's an autumn low, sluts and traps. So many kids, they got a whole nother cat. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. Everything you thinking of is make believe. Would you like for me to come and take the lead? Yeah. Would you like to tell me, girl, that you're in love? Would you like for me to come and use my tongue? Listen, it's an autumn low, sluts and traps. So many kids, they got a whole nother cat. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going. I spell pussy, whatever that is, I'm going.
Man, they always want me stuff for the streets. My stuff for the streets and all of that. Dude, make believe. Because I hope everybody realized Ramadan wasn't nothing else but you just prepare for winter to go into spring. I hope nobody thought it was anything different. We come up with a lot of allegories. We come out with a lot of concepts. As long as it's helped your day-to-day life, you know that was the original state anybody was in, whether they made that up for you or not, whether it was part of your people or not, whether Ramadan is Arabian or not. Yeah, somebody was sitting back looking at the early stages of actuality in life before you got lost into a synthetic version of winter going into springtime, the sun passing over. just tell you a lot of things, and restrictions, boundaries, and limits, and things you should be shedding to get to something new. You can see it in actual reality how some shed and stuff at wintertime, snow come through. The snow might not be real. There's the snow come through and stuff start melting. It's about springtime. I think that's the right new year. You know what I'm saying? That's once you get that in your brain, you'll start to be like, oh, okay, now I know when to make my New Year resolution. My body gonna make me get up off my anyway, because it ain't cold no more outside and stuff like that. And if you a child, your parents make you go cut some grass. I don't even think that exists anymore. I don't even really think that it really exists anymore. You know what I'm saying? They gonna shovel some snow. I don't even think that. Nah, I still seen things stuff like that, but the optics online and how it trickle down in real life, I know that's very small and stuff that kids is tough in today's time. We got kids throwing pork chops at their parents and stuff like that. And these are, I don't know what y'all arguing about. You know what I'm saying? Y'all frustrated about stuff like that. A Wi-Fi bill. The Wi-Fi, I know things crazy right now. I know people all over the place and stuff like that, but we're going to get it together eventually. Let me not use that word weed. That word varies. That word spreads out. You know what I'm saying? That word is like peanut butter and jelly. You could get caught all in between. You ever heard of this cliche terminology? Guilty by association. Caught all in the mix. Tangle and twisting. How you got caught up in it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of that type of stuff. Sometimes you got to substantiate why you think the moon was in Aquarius, then it went into Pisces, then it's getting ready to go into Aries. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to break it down. See, a lot of y'all don't know how to act out the light rays and stuff beyond the terms I'm using. So I'm gonna go beyond the terms and break it down into naturalities and qualities of life to let you know, oh, that's a way of acting in order. Oh, that's something to be in sync with. Or if I'm a student of life, this is teaching me the essence or the quality of something being in sync. And the thing it's trying to find is relatability with the thing it's in sync with. The more it can't find a percentage scale of relatability of the thing it's in sync with, cause combustion, cause frustration. Then you're able to look in deeper. Oh, there's a certain angle that this happened as also. All the way to the point that you will start to realize there's a spirit in all forms that has an observation through that form. You're inside of life, existence. You are a form that was made out of it, and you get to see from your observation and point of view or whatever. So a lot of times when y'all be dreaming, sometimes y'all be dreaming when in one of your blood cells, one of your cloud cells, right, just flying all around and stuff. These are light rays. But the part of your percentage scale that you emanated, that's the one you're riding or whatever the case may be. That's why when sometimes y'all be flying in y'all dreams or whatever, it feel like that, okay, you in one of your cloud, the thought of it. You see what I'm saying? All your dreams and stuff like that, that's what these things are, your cloud body. Where else is you but in existence? You can't say when I'm dream I'm out of existence. No, you in existence, and you can explain your dreams to someone else. Learn how to see something, not what you're seeing. You see what I'm saying? And then therefore you're able to determine and decipher what's actually going on when it comes to piece by piece and existence. And therefore you won't be questioning things that you be questioning in your life that you would start to look at like, man, that was kind of dumb and I was lost and I might have been in some type of programs about these things. And a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, these programs just be for us to feel comfortable and not vulnerable when we have that lack of know-how going through certain situations. And that lack of know-how make us feel naked. And that's what I'm always pointing to as an esoteric claw. A know-how, an ideology, a mind frame. You know what I'm saying? These are sufficient objects and tools you need to always keep your spaceship updated. Your mind is your spaceship. But your mind is just a collection of thoughts and feelings. That's what you float around in. And a lot of y'all be in a whole lot of feelings. I think too many feelings sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because feelings is seeing, then it condense and become cloud feelings, then it condense, become air and water. But before it become a water puddle, something you can't see past, it be forms you be in, multiple ones, before it gets condensed and harnessed into one area, your spiritual space, and then you be the only ones who can see things through that watery glass lens because your esoteric spaceship windshield wipers don't work. You know what I'm saying? So all your judgments is what? Cloudy. All your judgments cloudy, bro. And you wet. And the only thing that come from wetness is when it's getting ready to be springtime is, we ain't talking about St. Patrick's Day, but it might be green. So you wet and green. You know what I'm saying? You no matter what ethnicity you is, you might not be wearing green or whatever like that. You might be dry, dehydrated, and you thirsty. Where's some water? You still wet and green. See, so it play out in the spiritual world sometimes, and then it might manifest and trickle down to other areas and stuff like that, where if you a man, you slid in the red pill, female might could use those terminologies. You still dry, you still thirsty to hit. She ain't let you hit yet, you still thirsty to hit or whatever like that, but yet you still gave her about what, 500,000 a date or whatever the case may be. Oh, look, you wet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And she got that green. Oh yeah, she got that green. She got that green out here. What is St. Patrick's Day? Oh, I said it wasn't going up on Tuesday. I don't do none of that, but she got that green. And you wet and green. And see, a lot of times it don't deal with the actual physical world, but it can, because money green. You could be salty and start crying when she ain't around and stuff like that. That's wet. Everything manifests in reality once you understand you be in the spiritual pockets of it first. See, I don't never want to understand that part. Why not? I just want to sit around and hate first. I don't want to get into the spiritual world. Get your T-Steam game up. I was saying get your T-Steam game up. A lot of y'all don't know how to get y'all T-Steam games up. So y'all hormones all fluctuate and stuff like this. I just went through surgery. That's the only reason I got this little lump right here. When I go away, he told me to go away in a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to go through a little surgery. So I got a little strap. Or whatever the case may be. A lot of y'all just going through fluctuations for no reason and stuff like that. You just sit down all day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still lay on y'all stomachs all day. You know what I'm saying? Wear and tear on your kneecaps and stuff. Other than that. They got the nerve to complain. They got the nerve to think, oh, something wrong with God doing something to me. Oh, Colin is doing something. No, it ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They got something to do. Your elbow been dry for the past goddamn 18,000 years and stuff. Lift that motherfucker. Oh, say your left butt cheek been goddamn flat for the past goddamn. Oh, say lift that motherfucker. Oh, get off your monkey ass. Oh, get off your monkey ass. That's all you gotta do is you start to feel better and stuff like that. People have to sit you down, tell you to chill out for a little bit and stuff. That's where you want it. You always want it more on that percentage scale, not more on a percentage scale where somebody got to motivate you to get up. Nah, you're too far now. Oh, so that's too far now and stuff like that. Once you need motivation for that, you already was lost online too long or something like that, or lost on TV too long, or lost in someone else you admire in your area too long or something like that. You fail to put that energy to use yourself. So that's how a lot of y'all just fall all over the place and stuff like that. But like I said, yeah, we experiencing. How do y'all feel about the new moon? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be new experiences. It's always like that. Look, here's the thing. You ain't experiencing the same thing as yesterday or last week, but you don't want to cater that to nothing. You just want to say, oh, it's just life or whatever. That's why you only could think about your child support bill. That's why you only could think about when your heart was broke. That's what y'all said. That stuff right there. You're transmuted. Y'all say you're transmuted. Y'all say you went through the roll Stargate. You didn't go down a roll path. You know what I'm saying? Your esoteric windshield wipers wasn't right. You wasn't adjusted right. So you don't know how to go to this esoteric Lowe's or Home Depot or the car section on Walmart or whatever the case may be and get right. Get right. You spend too much time in bullshit aisles. You know what I'm saying? It's like Hallmark card aisles and stuff like that. Milk carton aisles. You know what I'm saying? So retarded aisles. It's just aisles that would be the aisle. You know what I'm saying? Now you hurt, you spiritually damaged or something like that. You need somebody to blame. Now you need somebody to blame. It ain't nobody's fault. It ain't your sister's fault. It ain't your auntie fault. It ain't your uncle's fault. You know it ain't your father's fault. He in jail just like. Oh, it's not for everybody. This is for some people. A lot of people I know. You know what I'm saying? He in jail just like you don't blame that. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Can't blame him. Can't blame him at the moment and stuff like that. But there's a whole lot of circumstances y'all be lost in and stuff. But we're going through a new moon in Pisces. And Pisces get ready to get a goddamn baton to Aries in this goddamn. So when you understand that, that means we got to be independent, but passionately independent. For the most part, here's the thing. Independence don't mean always doing things alone. Independent mean you could do it from a 1, 2, and 3rd dimensional perspective, which you're doing individually. 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional perspective, who are you in cahoots with? So all y'all got a independent goal together. So all y'all got your own individual 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. But in the mind, y'all all share a goal. Y'all all share a business. So that's y'all thing together, or whatever the case may be. That's how it's supposed to be perceived. So when the Aries rise up and become evolved, that's what they start to learn. Other than, you know, the immature Aries. And when I say immature, I'm not speaking childish as far as personality. I'm talking about like all zodiac signs and their growth as far as how they see and perceive things, and how their sign is, how it's supposed to work best in sync and relatability when you start to evolve. And you could be more 3rd dimensional, or you could broaden yourself, be more spiritual in the mental world and stuff in the spaceship, 4th and 6th dimension, or you could be all over the place for a negative or positive purpose when you just in your spirit, or whatever the case. You see what I'm saying? And all signs be having these 3 transitions. And Aries got to learn how to, just like Scorpio, they share Mars as a depositor. You know what I'm saying? So that'd be the snake, the scorpion, then the eagle. And then Aries is the I think it's like the falcon, then fire phoenix, and then the flaming ball or some guy. But it ain't really looked at like that in that kind of concept. It's just really not, because that's just comparing it to Scorpio. It's really just the falcon or the Aries, but the Aries is the ground, falcon when it rise, then the dragon, because that's where Draco and all these things, that'd be the 3rd if you look at it from that aspect. But for the most part, it's just making a transition from understanding how to separate independent and individuality, and having an independent or individual concept. You could join communions with others and things of that nature, and therefore that allows the Aries to know how to pick their position the right way and don't get into that extreme competitive energy, or play out an energy when they're still an immature Aries and they haven't evolved yet, and attract that kind of energy where others think that they have to compete with the Aries in some way, shape, or form. And then the Aries have to, you know, sometimes sacrifice their innocence to go ahead and do some stuff that they already know that they wasn't really trying to do, but people put them in that position thinking that that ability that they had was something that they was willing to boast around also. And that be you know, a lot of times they get around other signs thinking that they want to tell them something, or think that something is not right to do without the Aries even doing it, or whatever the case may be. It's just how somebody else perceives something. The Aries might have expressed themselves in another sentiment that was comfortable, and then a person that's close to them might put in their mind, or a person looking from a distance, that this how this person will be in this scenario that may not be perceived as well based on that circumstance or whatever, and then start to prejudge the Aries or whatever. And then this is where you get that type of explanation that they try to say Aries is childlike or whatever, which is, that's all wrong, whatever, because Aries are independent. So I don't know no babies in the world that's baby-like but no parents around. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. Then they try to say Pisces is the oldest, but I don't know no older person lost in drawing and color books and imagination and stuff. From an allegorical perspective, not to say people that's adults and things of that nature that are these zodiac signs playing out what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about these explanations and things of that nature and traits that, you know, the person may have the wrong idea when they're starting to explain these things, due to the fact of probably being a grifter, lost in divination or whatever the case may be, or, you know, don't mean no harm, but just the amount of information that they have received seem most comfort. And then there's like a social norm that goes to it, that if they go against it, that they feel like they're wrong or something like that. So there's a lot of nuances to things when you don't understand life for yourself. It's always important to learn life for yourself, all the way down to looking at things like Saturn or whatever the case. You know, Saturn ain't an actual planet. You ain't gonna do them satellites or whatever the case may be. You have to know the allegory from people who are actually looking at life. So we're looking at an imaginary light ray just for the sake of from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is why we call it the horizon. And it's noon, and the sun is at its highest peak. You don't see the light ray still in the sky from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., but you're supposed to make up in your mind, oh, okay, I kind of understand. But for the most part, if that's half of the cycle, then for the most part, that's half of the ring. Because if we're talking about a cycle, things ain't linear. Spring come back around. It ain't spring, summer, fall, winter, zaka hoppa hoopy hacking like hoppa. No, it's spring, summer, fall, winter, then back to spring and this diggity thing. So for the most part, it makes an imaginary loop or sonic ring in the sky once we have a full year cycle. So what is the last portion of the loop? Wintertime. And that's the sun being at its most distant or whatever the case based upon your geographical location. So for the most part, it just that cloud, that hot cloud, and that distance or whatever from your geographical location, the in between going to have the substance of what you call maybe cold, maybe dusty if you're on the east, and if you're on the west, maybe snow or maybe frost. But for the most part, that's when it makes a full ring. So the sun in that position is what we're calling the Saturn sun. So there's qualities that it play out in nature that we present as an agriculture too, that end up becoming the qualities that we're calling Sabbath. So we have a micro version of it, the week, and we have a macro version of it. So we have an above the horizon, 7 distances and 7 different positions. So that'll be from spring to summer. We see the sun, based on a transition of us rotating to the left, it being 7 different positions and 7 different distances. Now, as we go into fall and winter, we see those same distances represented from spring to summer, but we see them in different positions because you're facing more opposite as you transition to the left on your geographical location and you are experiencing fall and winter. So this is how we get the concept of ruling planet being able to rule 2 signs, one above the horizon, one below the horizon, or whatever the case. So when you think about Saturn, it's talking about one thing: the position of Aries, or the beginning of spring, the position of fall, the beginning Libra, or the beginning of fall, autumn, and the point, the peak of the transition of it, aka Saturn, or Capricorn, or whatever. So that's the representation that we actually see. But as the transition, or whatever the case may be, we see it at its low point when we are rotating, and we call it above the horizon that we're seeing. So during spring, the sun being in that specific distance, we see it in a position of what we're calling the fall of Saturn, sun, but the energy it gives to create the allegory of the ruler of Mars, you see what I'm saying? Or the exaltation of the sun. Then as it goes into fall time, that's even day, even night, 180-degree angle, straight opposition. So we're seeing the same distance as we would see it in Aries and Libra, but we're seeing it from a different position, which we would call or consider below the horizon now. You're ready to experience fall and winter. So this will be the exaltation of Saturn, but what? The fall of the representation that we created in the springtime that we call Mars. So for the most part, here's where we get the exaltation of Saturn, fall of Mars, but in Aries, exaltation of the sun, ruler of Mars, fall of Saturn. It's all just talking about the same thing in different perspectives. Just like in the Bible, the Christian Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it's just talking about different positions of the sun during spring, summer, fall, and winter. You see what I'm saying? So you have to look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John as different names for whether we're talking about a time cycle, whether we're talking about a practice, whether we're talking about a culture. And then you have humans acting out the characteristics of the caricature that we're presenting from allegories of astronomy and astrology, and then practicing these things because it teaches agriculture. Then the names we come up with, whoever played that role the best, that become their general name. So a lot of times, even when you get into colonists, a lot of the names ain't made for calling a person who just had a baby a name. When we get into the old times, 1700s and 1600s, right? A lot of times, what the names that they had didn't have nothing to do, just like the tribes and stuff like that, right? The name mean what you're actually doing. So when the colonists started to copy it and things of that nature, here's where y'all get confused with terms like George Washington and think that that's a term that we're calling a human when a human have a baby. No, these were titles. Just like the Bible is full of titles. George Washington is a title. The Wassa people estate over here in America, right? So it's when the Moravians and things of that nature came over here. You see, these are titles. Christopher Columbus is a title. It's what all the colonists was doing when they started invading the Caribbeans and things of that nature. So it's Christopher's Columbus. Columbus means a territory, and Christopher was their form of Christianity, or whatever the case may be. Not that being a person, but by the colonists not telling y'all that and playing that on y'all mind, and y'all have y'all retarded arguments being other ethnic groups, this is how they're able to tell whose lineage is what spirit is in what body, and what DNA is what, and what came from what time. This is how they're looking at it. How y'all looking at it is another way. They know that you rock to sleep even if you come from an older time, but you're taking the mind frame of something that they created in the 1920s or whatever the case. So by you not having your own mind and own volition, and also being retarded, and let's say you're still a powerful spirit, by you not being intelligent enough to know what cycle you in, you still don't know yourself to a certain degree, because it's supposed to be things you genuinely know without nobody already telling you or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And it goes beyond the terms and even national terms that we're talking about. It ain't even got nothing to do with that. That's later. It's a thought pattern and a way of reacting. No one can get away with that. You know what I'm saying? An alligator would never react or respond the way a monkey would react or respond to something. A human would never react or respond the way a deer would react or respond in front of a car and headlights. You see what I'm saying? An iguana would never react or respond like a hawk or an eagle. An eagle would never react or respond like a crow. You see what I'm saying? So you got to know these are natural qualities, and you know when things don't work for you when you're acting out a quality that wasn't suit for your lineage. This is one of the reasons why people like Pat Poose don't take off. No matter how good he is, he practicing my people's stuff, and he not even mixed. So the Algonquian stuff, his people can't connect with him. See what I'm saying? So I guarantee if Pat Poose changed his name to what his people are doing, like Muslim stuff and things of that nature, or whatever, I guarantee he'd take off. Guarantee. And a lot of artists be doing that stupid stuff and stuff like that. But for the most part, these things is energies and stuff like that. You can't be playing around, and don't play around with your people either. This is where intelligence come from. When you're a part of your people, you get handed intelligence, whether they're alive or not. The ones they're alive and the ones that ain't, you still part of the presence of being able to see things. When you're far distant and cluttered and stuff like that, you're unintelligent, and you have to cling on other things like synthetic intelligences. So these would be things like your pride, your badge, your title. And when I say badge, I'm not specifically talking about police. You know, when people go through anything and get this type of thing that Walt Disney taught us, that allows you to go back to your home or your family, friends, and associates and be able to look down on them in some way, shape, or form. So I'm not really casting stones at these qualities that people could go out and get, like these things is negative in general. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. Like they said, money itself ain't the evil, ain't the problem, whatever. It's the individual with it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of pardon me, these things is protection. These things is all kind of energies that show you the qualities of how to put yourself into a situation where you're able to see things for what they are and see what works for you and see what you may have been holding on to that don't work for you and things of that nature. And therefore, you can mind your business and your energy goes more towards your creativity and what you inspire to do or whatever the case may be. And once you're on that path, you will start to see a lot of problems that you had previously is melt away. And there'll be a lot of problems that people that you have in your life with a lot of problems that you will start to see as petty. But you could see once upon a time, if you put yourself in their shoes, and once upon a time you had those size shoes, how it could be justified to be taken serious, or how it could be justified to be something you give all your energy to, or whatever the case may be. All the way down to I don't have anything to do against sports, but it'd be like the same concept, where let's say you stop watching sports because it got something to do with blocking something else that you're trying to do in your life, or whatever the case may be. Right now, you still got people around you that's still into a situation of get ready to fight or whatever the case may be. So you still got that understanding, like, okay, yeah, I once was there. I once was in those shoes of, or whatever the case, right? So you're able to see things from a distance, but not totally being some stupid bias or whatever the case may be, where you start to use it like an ego. Now you're looking down on other individuals, because for the most part, that shows a damage. That shows you're overcompensating for something. And whatever that you was in, you was losing anyway. And that next thing that you found, whether it was that other gold, something beyond sports, that other bitch, or whatever, however the case may be, or that other dude, if you're a female, right? A lot of times you jump too early. Y'all jumped the gun too early, used these things because you was damaged in the first place, couldn't wait to brag about these things, and these things end up doing you the same way that you just had to leave this last situation from, especially when it comes to relationships. Y'all jumped the gun too fast. Y'all be having to be careful. Be careful. And I know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? That's like a person who's been broke forever, and they came up on a first check that was bigger than the last one or whatever. At first, they want to do stuff for everybody or whatever the case may be. Stuff that they barely could do for themselves and stuff, but they just want to prove a point or whatever and crash out a few times and stuff like that. You gotta give people grace. But yeah, it's just like a common spirit, but it play out in all energies. If we start to sit back and understand life as it is, you will start to see how there's some simple things that be right in front of us. God is a part of that. God always be in front of y'all. That, pardon me, always be playing out. It always be playing out and stuff like that. And you just have to sit back and catch it. And be like, damn, that was always the problem. It was always that simple. But it takes an accumulation and for a situation to get that deep. And just so happen a lot of these situations to be negative for you to get into that space. And then a lot of times, once you're dealing with the reactionary energy within these bubbles and having to act on those reactionary energies, you never reach the height of the intelligence. It just be small portions. Then better luck next time, better next lifetime and shit like that. Nobody be having time for all that. You could be seeing these things from a mile away because you already know how you hear. And I don't be teaching y'all nothing. I just only be reminding you what you already know. So for the most part, when you sit back and ponder, you right. It's just I use what I already know for things I really don't know. And then a lot of times I dive too far into things I don't know. And these things I don't know, we know everything. Whoever made up that concept of we'll never know everything, that was retarded. It ain't what we looking at, it's how we looking at it. So for the most part, what I don't know, that comes from a starting point. What are the things I don't know? I don't know how another person wiped their ass. I don't know how another. So the only things you don't know in reality is because another person who share your organs made it. Or if something else that don't share your organs made it. So if it was some feces before you realized it was feces and didn't know the smell yet, and you was a caveman, right, and you stepped on a skunk or whatever the case may be, you see what I'm saying? It's in that same kind of quality. So for the most part, you got to know that there's energies that we're all supposed to be able to experience for ourselves. And anything that you don't know can only be because of a reason why a person wouldn't know something. And these are things that's credible. The things y'all cling on, which you don't know, is made up from another person. And that's why it start off on that basis on a percentage scale. And anytime something is on a starting point and it's already a faulty reasoning, any idea built on top of it shall fail. You can only create pockets in it of capitalism. I can profit off of it. I can use it as an ego. I can be seen as me knowing something somebody else don't know. It's all imaginary though. You see what I'm saying? Y'all got to understand these things. You know everything. You know the things you don't know is because you don't know how someone else is using a brain. We got a what? A brain. How they do it is their own way. So you know that. So anything you don't know come from that. It don't come from anything else or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So you're supposed to already know how to light, condense it, or whatever like that. All possibilities, which y'all calling God. And things of that nature, and how to get in that space, and the transition of life. The spirit creating the mind condensing to become the organs condensing and being the body and things of that nature, and then that creating the physical world. Teamwork makes the dream work, so all of us need the thing we made out of. So we're creating this world from the inside out, baby. You see what I'm saying? Y'all spiritually broke, baby. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. You got to get spiritually rich in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Once you get spiritually rich, you got a whole bunch of ideas. That's esoteric golden currency and stuff like that. So you went to, it's like a world. Like, you know where the sun is being emitted? This is the second world. That's the fire world. That's the first one. Once you get into that lighter body, it's like you go into that and see all that out. And things of that nature. You're starting to play out the forms of you being an observer that you're condensing in. You know what I'm saying? You be an observer, the spiritual space, the soul. Then you're condensing in mind forms. That's all the many different to light condensity. And then we're calling the physical the last transition of the condensity of the metaphysical. So y'all think these things are separate, but they're not. This is how you produce blood. This is how you produce adrenaline, right? And spiritually, you could be in a certain space, come up with the awareness substance of thoughts and feelings that condense and become an emotion of some good creativity, and it condense and become adrenaline and motivation, and you get up and start to exercise it. And we ain't even just talking about exercise or whatever the case may be. You could be in a spiritual space that you're not resonating with, so you're going to lack what you are aware of and only be aware of things you don't like, and that's only a small spark. So the adrenaline, you're not going to develop a lot of blood and adrenaline and stimuli from that attention span. So you're going to be unmotivated to do anything. And if you stay stale enough in that space, you start developing hormonal imbalances. And then once that become unbalanced or whatever, your organs can't work sufficient. Then once they can't work sufficient, now your spirit get just like God forcing your spirit to think like, hey, you're supposed to be in this space emanating these type of thoughts so you could be juicing yourself up. And then once you get that, stumble across that new mental goal, now it's time for you to use the physical. Your physical is all got the blood of that old and outdated DNA, adrenaline blood you was creating and stuff like that. Now your body can't do what your mind wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Because the spirit creates the mind, so the mind mimics the spirit. The mind condenses and creates the body, so the body mimics the mind. And when you get into that position where you get this new mind state, but the last mind state wasn't enough spark, So your body that condensed from it is all dried up and stuff like that. You're going to be mad at yourself, mad at the world, mad at everything. You know what I'm saying? This is, you probably got a family member, a friend, or associate or coworker right now in that space. You just don't know how to explain it. See, I'm everybody's esoteric next door neighbor, so I'm in everybody's household when they by themselves. When they happiest, when they crying and stuff like that, the stuff y'all don't know about people. So it's the character that they wear, and it's only a handful of routes that they take to go get their esoteric clothes. They be at like Burlington coat factories and stuff like that. They don't be nowhere to get no real genuine leather and stuff like that. Y'all want to see the tag? You don't get no genuine leathers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, they wouldn't be at that esoteric bulletin coat factory getting that cheap coat or whatever the case may be, just to come and it look like Paid in Full, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when they shooting and stuff like that, and there's only feathers coming out of homeboy when he gets salty or whatever, or get little. You know what I'm saying? So this is how y'all understand the sentiment of a person, what they call that overcompensate energy, right? The sentiment shows a story of what space this person in with nobody around, and how much they got to build themselves up to even get enough esoteric currency, money, attention to something that might work for them as a cloth, drive to that store, and then be like, oh, this is a good idea. If I go ahead and exaggerate this lie, put that on or whatever the case may be, then got the nerve to present themselves like you ain't spiritually inclined and you don't watch Archangel Uriel online, like you can't tell when someone bullshitting and overcompensating. You know what I'm saying? But they put that in front of you because they're your family friend or associated coworker. They come pull, wear all kind of clothes like you don't know where they got it from. You know what I'm saying? You know the sentiment. You're like, yeah, this sound good or whatever the case may be, but you wouldn't even be in that space having that sentiment that goddamn you got that problem. You know what I'm saying? Or you ain't still, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be the smart one and stuff. Don't let nobody put no wool over your eyes. You know what I'm saying? But y'all be allowing people to do that and stuff like that. And then when it's time for you not to allow it, you got to do a little more than you really had to do if you would have nipped it in the bud a week ago. If you would have nipped it in the bud when they first tried you. When they first tried it. It was at a situation where it was too petty. It wasn't really trying you, but you know that's going to accumulate and lead to this person feeling comfortable to try you. A lot of times I got to nip that. Nip it in the bud. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. But you got to nip that. Nip it, you know what I'm saying? Like cat litter nip neck. You know what I'm saying? Gotta nip it. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll take an inch and then it'll be this cliche term. Motherfuckers then took a mile. God damn. You done let a motherfucker get an inch, man, it took a whole goddamn mile, and you was trying to be kind. Your kindness got took it for weakness. Now you know that ain't the right way to be kind. God's showing you right now that ain't the right way to be kind. That ain't the right. You supposed to be one of a kind. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's the only one. Sometimes being one of a kind, they don't come with being liked all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes one of a kind be get hated on by all the other grass blades, sand particles, snowflakes and stuff. Goddamn, sometimes it get hated by all the other minerals around it and stuff. Sometimes it's a hard job to be one of a kind. That's all you're supposed to do. Goddamn it, coming out the dirt, you'll be a diamond. Coming out the goddamn dirt, you'll be a diamond. So you got to understand that stuff. But it got to be the real circumstance, not somebody who sat back and created. They worked in part of some agency right now and thought about this from other people's cultures and put you in a weird version of it if you want to be a celebrity or not. Nobody had time. You know what I'm saying? It's retarded stuff. All that's getting ready to die out, that celebrity stuff. But in real life, life teaches you that when you have to deal with these things for real. When you start to realize, oh, this has something to do with my heartbeat. Oh, this got something to do with the blood that moves in my veins. Oh, this got something to do with the way my knees work and stuff like that and stuff. Oh, so when I go through this situation, my heart beat like this. When I go through this situation, my heart beat like that. Oh, when I'm thinking like this, my brain work like this. When I'm in a situation like that, my dick work like that. You know what I'm saying? However the case it may be, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta think on the organs. You know, the organs. Dealing with your organs, y'all organisms. Y'all gotta understand your organisms. Organisms. Hate for horses, hate for horses. You know what I'm saying? But once you understand life for what it is, you start to peep game and stuff and be like, oh, okay, and start to practice these situations and know what these things are or whatever. Then you a cold double-edged sword, bad mamma jamma. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what God want people to understand and want people to know. There's a certain mechanism and a procedure that's always happening that you wouldn't be here without that procedure. So it ain't the what, it's the how. So you start to figure out, oh, how this worked. Oh, it was planned out for me similarly, just in this way. So this pocket family of this awareness plays out in many different percentage scales many different shapes and forms, many different circumstances and situations. And if I could find it, that means I'm practicing what we call in sync and relatability. And ain't nothing higher on a percentage scale to practice if I'm in a world amongst others, because I see all situations that play out favorable even when people are selfish. That is the ground basis and procedure that they're trying to work out. Something that's in sync and relatable is just a lot of people are doing that for internal purposes or self-serving purposes. So it's something only in sync and relatable to them, and if they get too lost in that energy, something in sync and relatable only to them become extremely high on a percentage scale, unrelatable and in sync with everybody and everything around them. And this person end up being a person who only destroys themselves within that bias and others. You know what I'm saying? So this is what God teaches us. There's certain things we're doing, period. It ain't though. The how is on you. Ain't no big boss God. God ain't that kind of concept. Gonna come talk to you like a human or whatever. It ain't got nothing to do with that. And that's why y'all get fooled by other humans that talk like that and stuff like that. Rock y'all to sleep. They tell y'all they coming in the name of something, and then at the end, once they take your money, they tell you that they ain't that thing themselves. They just colonize you or something like that. Ask Joe Osteen. He coming in the name of Jesus Christ. Ask him when the last time he been in Palestine. He don't know. Ask him, is he Jesus Christ? He don't know. So he's creating some other things. Humans here enjoy. And what's the other one? Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes and all these people. They're creating things that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like no monkey even know about that. But somehow a monkey know how to create a brain. A bird created a brain. A human created a brain. These are things that we got to understand. Oh, God taught us that type of thing. These things ain't separate from what we are in charge of or whatever. So there's a real concept when it comes to creation, mutation, evolution. See what I'm saying? Creation means awareness. Mutation mean one awareness connected to another awareness. Evolution means that becomes velocity, volume, mass, shape, and form. So when one individual connect to another individual, that may dualistic, and the dualistic nature by default creates a surrounding and an environment where both contain, whether both started from the point of creating it, for one can know that one is the other, and for there to be a left, there's to be the right, and the arena and the expansion that plays out. So we know things are starting at a ground basis, expansion and contraction. So expansion starts on the ground basis of first being aware. Contraction starts on the ground basis of being inside of that awareness. So that's when we make our first body or whatever. So when we start to understand what is distance create brightness. There is no such thing as the sun getting closer and everything light up more. Light on light create darkness. This is how you understand that type of concept. So the collection of light condensing is how we experience in darkness, not the absence of light. And you can see more out there. No, you're just not seeing the same distance and atmosphere. You're just not seeing it lit up. You're seeing it condensing and collapsing, and all the minerals that make what we see during the daytime once the sun is in its lighter stage, and the things that come once it was in its lighter stage and condensed and it got planted. That's what we're calling fall and winter. That's a planting. That's a planting. And these things grow during spring and summer. That's land mass. That's how we're getting land mass, everything of that nature. I didn't touch y'all the cycle system many times. That's what I'm saying. There's natural ways to look at life. So when you play out these things in order, you'll start to see, oh, okay. So right now we're getting ready to do a full cycle. So we're getting ready to do another ring on the Christmas tree. This is how your spirit get expand and contract. And everything your spirit is inside of get bigger. So if your mind is expanding and contracting because your spirit is inside it, and your mind condense and become organs, it expand and contract. That's what you're calling a pulse. So this is how you're gaining more volume, velocity, and mass. And the first law of thermodynamics is wrong. You're creating more energy. So this is how you're expanding, not just losing your bias, calling it aging and deteriorating, but you expanding and getting bigger. That comes from pulse. You could stop your growth and your hormone development when you're a kid and you start to get off the necessity of what your mother was feeding you inside of her and her titty and things of that nature, and you start doing extreme unhealthy practices, maybe due to the fact of maybe your parents or whatever the case may be, and it's far away from them nutrients or whatever the case, and you're not moving around and stuff. You could become a person that your growth gets stuffed. What they call that? Stumped. where your growth spurt is slow. And a lot of times, a lot of y'all probably had that situation where you might have been male or female. You might have been extra short in the 3rd and the 4th grade. Then once you got into the 7th and 8th grade, you passed up everybody and just got tall as hell. Or you might in the 3rd and 4th grade, you was taller than everybody, and then somehow 8th grade, everybody got taller than you. You know, and you thought you was tall. No, it's just at that age you was taller than everybody. Your growth spurt stopped, and then some unhealthy hormone stifle happened, and then everybody who went in your class had their normal growth. So it just seemed like they passed you up, but no, you just stopped. You see what I'm saying? And at that age, y'all wasn't that tall anyway. You was just at your peer group. You was just taller than them. So a lot of y'all went through that personally. You see what I'm saying? And things of that nature. But these things is deep. These are spiritual things. Unfortunately, there's no school or nothing like that. But y'all got y'all spiritual next door neighbor, homie, and stuff like that. I know it's kind of late and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? It's kicking some good spiritual game and stuff like that, so you can know there's many things to be aware of beyond what you might be lost in, and the GMO world and stuff like that. That's actually based off these things I'm talking about anyway. So as we get ready to do this full cycle and get ready to go in Aries, we're experiencing this new moon in Pisces or whatever. You're supposed to be shedding the old. A lot of y'all was trying to shed the old as we was still in the half ring left. The ring had 90 days left. That was winter, from Capricorn to Aquarius to Pisces. So you know that'd be, goddammit, from late December to late January to late February to late March, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, those 90 days per se makes the last ring, but that position creates the allegory here. You know what I'm saying? And you can see how certain ethnic groups and certain other people and things of that nature probably make allegories around it, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? For an example, if you know about Superman or whatever, then you should know whoever connected to writing the Bible as a colonist is doing the same type of tactic, just in a different way, or whatever. So okay, boom, this is an allegory about this sun position, and the allegories that present in reality, this what it does. Okay, so whether you like that energy or you don't like it, that'll be the narrative behind your story about that idea and the sun being in that position or whatever. So you got Superman coming from what, winter freeze world or whatever the case may be, or whatever. So it's just basically an allegory about the sun being in wintertime, and it bring destruction or whatever like that, or kryptonite or nigger night or whatever. I'm saying, I seen people coming out with albums called My Nigga. Jack Scarecrows, harlots. I'm saying, hey, my business. I can see stuff from a distance though, and things of that nature. If y'all was more intelligent, y'all will be, you know what I'm saying? Ain't my business. I'm from a distance. Ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my business. It ain't my business. Y'all gotta take care of some stuff though. Like y'all just y'all be allowing anything and stuff. Like y'all just allow anything. You know what I'm saying? All somebody gotta do is be next to Michael Jordan, wear a Jordan shoe or something like that, wear a fitted cap or something like that, shoot a basketball like Obama. That's it. Y'all sold. You know what I'm saying? Y'all sold. The bubblegum wrappers all sold up. All the Kool-Aid packs all gone. Y'all don't need Jim Jones. Shout out to the rapper, not the cult leader. Y'all don't need him. Don't nobody got to hold a gun in y'all head. Y'all get up and go to Walmart, Kroger's, Mayor's, everything. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no packs of Kool-Aid left at the goddamn Dollar Tree. Oh, better than that. Y'all done passed up all the teas. So yeah, everybody got to fool y'all, whatever. Y'all love the lie. Y'all like it. Y'all in love with it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know what to do without it. So I don't want to hear a lot of that stuff y'all be kicking sometimes. So you better finish this mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff, they say ain't gonna be the truth. I'm just listening like the chick songs or whatever. This album ain't about no chicks. This album flaming all artists. I say y'all already heard the track list or whatever like that. I ain't got to repeat it, but all artists are getting it right now. Y'all gonna step y'all game up though. At least y'all gonna step y'all game up or whatever. And that's all that counts. That's all that matters or whatever. And everybody gonna get their culture back. Get your culture back. You know what I'm saying? Whether you mix, whether you're pure, we're going through that time, a washing machine cycle. And God is telling everybody DNA don't do nothing but cancel itself out anyway. God don't got to give y'all no more examples. And here's the thing. The universe is speaking anyway. Like everybody is in the same sentiment right now. So if you a demon, you the only person that ain't in the sentiment everybody else is in. You know what I'm saying? Just like there's a big frustration right now with even the rage bait and stuff. It's not that rage baiters got an audience and people watch it and be like, oh, I like this person getting rage bait. No, it's the energy itself. Nobody care about what a rage baiter idea about. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. It ain't about somebody laughing at a person getting rage bait. It's about why somebody rage baiting. Now, if it's justified or whatever the case may be, that's another thing. But not just for the sake of no reason or whatever the case, because people getting corny online as adults. Don't nobody like that. I talk to enough regular people in the world and celebrities and stuff like not really celebrities. I hate that word, but you know what I'm saying. People just see a little stain in the game a little bit and stuff like that. To know that ain't something that they into either. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we got to change this up and we got to be more creative and stuff. We having a lot of young individuals nowadays watching these type of tactics from a distance and having a second thought whether they should become content creators or not. And last time I checked, the way online is moving, it's making it seem like it's a necessity, just like back in the day when they stopped the paper application and you have to do it on a computer, or now you have to start doing your area code on your phone number, or add it with your phone number. Before when it was just 7 digits, now it's 10 digits or whatever the case may be, right? So it's like that. It's already like that. Not to say that it's getting ready to be like that. It's already rooted in. It's too many investors, everybody online. It became too many. There's already too many ways to know that this can set the tone for where this can go or what this product could be or whatever the case. So it's already there, low key. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really even say it's not even there. It's already there. But at some point, you know what I'm saying, we still gotta we have to allow the creativity to flourish or whatever the case, because that brings the competitive spirit. And let's say a person got a lot of money and they just in the investor spirit or whatever the case, right? But there's no competition, right? You could find yourself crashing out on your investments more than actually picking the right thing. Then when the right thing come around, it don't even matter if you got the money or not. Let's say you got the money, but your enthusiasm about it might be less. Then for the most part, your competitor end up taking that. Now it gets you motivated again, but you steady and catch up, having to play moves behind. And that's what I'm here for. I'm an astrologer, an astronomer. Like, so this is what I've helped people with. It ain't always about what you're doing externally. It's about what spiritual space you in, and that always filter out externally the best way to go about it anyway, or whatever. Even when it comes to things to chill out on. All money and all energy and good money and things of that nature, or good relationships. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that save you in the future and be able to see what was probably already in front of you that you probably wouldn't have been paying attention to, that there's another person in your same circumstance or same peer group or business going through the same type of situation and already at that outcome that you're getting ready to reach. It's just God going to have you, if you do see it, learn to decipher between if you get ready to get lost into your ego and expectation and then get into this reg mind. Oh, that's different. So when it come to you, it's going to be different. No, the only different, yeah, same shit, different day, same shit. The only difference is you. It's happening specifically to you and the way it's done. But in the how, the what is still going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? So that's like a person saying, oh, I rob banks like another person. That's what? Robbing a bank. Y'all both got possibilities to go to jail. So how you went to jail just was different. One person went to jail in New York City, the other person went to jail in California. That was the only difference. So we got to always understand there's like an essence first. There's something you're always doing anyway. Then that has a filtering system. You have to learn how to find it. And you can already be on that path that already spirits that was in that area, been there, done that. You could be in a pocket where they was at success and doing that in your own way. And here you go getting ready to think, oh, that's different. So you think you're not even seeing it from that perspective. You just think you doing something, you unique, you different, and still end up being Scarface at the end of the movie. Still ended up being Thanos at the end of the movie and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing changed. The beginning of the movie was good. We was enthused. We was intimidated. But at the end, you was just pushing up daisies and flowers and stuff like that. That's all you was doing. Is all the big bad armor that melted off and stuff like that. The ring, the gold glove disappeared. You couldn't be OJ Simpson no more and stuff like that. Yeah, I seen him do it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Homie just got caught red-handed at the end. This being a scammer and a colonizer. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You gotta really think about these things. You gotta really think. Yeah, the beginning of the movie is always good. But do you want to end up on VH1 at the end? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't be peeping enough game. You know what I'm saying? You got to peep that game. But like I said, we get ready to go on the air. This is the real New Year's resolution. And the last new moon. And things of that nature for the year, whatever the case. So this is the real Passover. So hopefully you done passed over, but you're not carrying any baggage from where you just came from, spiritually. And we all doing that spiritual cycle all the way till you get ready to experience another birthday. Happy flight day. You know what I'm saying? And you know, happy flight day for those already, based upon what y'all quote unquote call in the new year, whatever the case may be, for my Capricorns, Aquariuses, and Pisces. But for the most part, then Aries, and then, you know, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libras, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and back to Cat. Which, you know, that makes that full ring. I'm a master orator. You know what I'm saying? Like, to make that full ring. And for the most part, you know, this is what we're married to. We married to the game. We true to the game. We ain't new to the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you got to understand these things when we're making up allegories. So we know the sun in that position and the moon in that position, even when the sun ain't there, carries the same qualities, but through the filtering system of the moon, right? So there's a mood with your micro sun and moon that you can play out. That, you know, you could be an individual that's expressing qualities that we consider a person being distant, a person being cold, a person being greedy, you know what I'm saying? A person being overhead or authoritative or bossy or looking down on others. This due to the fact of the energy of the sun being in its most distant during wintertime. You know what I'm saying? Us experiencing cold energy or whatever the case may be, rugged energy. And you feeling like that you need personal shelter in some way, shape, or form because you don't want to be out and about as the weather is going through that kind of change. So for the most part, it play out those same type of wrapping systems or whatever. But when you understand it from that quality, these are things that you could look at through your actual life, agriculture, and certain mannerisms that when you start to act them out, you'll start to see, oh, okay, this time, this sun, and this energy is teaching me forms of discipline. Oh, so this is what they're talking about in the Bible as far as the disciples. But during at this time, it's teaching me discipline. It's teaching me structure. It's teaching me how to create a foundation. So when there's time to do another cycle, I got something to fall on. I have something to come back on. I have shelter. I have structure. I have foundation. I have order. I learned how to organize something in some way, shape, or form. So all those energies you have to learn, especially through agriculture, and you have to build a long house, a plank house, or whatever the case may be, also teaches you how to create substantiated places in an area when you're not going around and having to go hunt or go in this area or whatever due to the fact of the land that was fruitful for it, and allowing that to be in that type of area or whatever. Because, you know, destroying too much of the land or whatever, you know, you'll destroy the bees and there's no honey. Then if it ain't no honey, then there ain't no flies. There ain't no flies, there ain't no nectar, or there ain't no this, there ain't no tree, then everything is going to deteriorate in that area and it ain't going to bring no animals. Then there ain't going to be no animals there to hunt or whatever the case may be. You're destroying the land mentally first before you even get to physically, and then you're just doing stupid stuff because you stink. Walking around and stuff like that with your stinky spirit, unmoral spirit, toxified spirit, uncleansed spirit, and things of that nature. And just because you can lie to yourself and think that your shit is better than somebody else's shit, and you think your shit is gold, or whatever the case may be, until you realize you ain't about nothing, just lying to yourself. Everybody does that. Just make sure you don't fall too deep in your lie. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Like, fuck, man, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. Hee. Haël'Ho, Yahlahuè, Massasoit, Mama Natoy. Hee. Woo. Masasaki.